Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Life by the Fly. Today we are going to tie one of the patterns I kind of came up with. I just call it a crazy fish. Here it is. A little bit of all kinds of stuff in it. I like the little blue sonic disc. I like the variations in color. I like the underbody. So this fly does take a little bit, so let's just jump in and get it started. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is go ahead and get started. Alright, when you go ahead and wrap your thread on there, for beginners I recommend to use 140 denier. For people that are used to using 70 denier, just go right ahead. Because we are tying in bucktail and zonker, and if you're not really experienced with working with those material, you pull too hard, it will break your thread if you have 70 denier. So all I do is I put my thread right here, push my weight up against it, and I run my finger back with the thread and I wrap behind it. I don't really wrap over top of the weight, it doesn't really need it. So the next thing I would recommend, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get some Antron, and I am using just standard black Antron. My Antron is kind of fuzzy because it's been used over and over again, and we're just going to tie it in. I tie it in on my side, and I kind of just pull everything back towards me, and I try to bulk this area up in the back, and just try to get it as level as I can with the lead, or weight rather. I don't know if it's lead or it just says weight on the package. And then I take some oval tinsel. I do take a fair amount of it, and I put it back on the roll if I can. I do tie this one on my side, and this is kind of a crazy pattern. I just really like it. It does actually work with 5-weight. I'm surprised. I caught a few fish on a 5-weight with this. It's got to be slower waters because this is not really a heavy fly. But anyways, I wrap until I hit the lead, or weight rather, since they don't tell me what it is, and I just secure. I'm not tying off. I secure the Antron, and then I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping this oval tinsel, and I'm trying to make really nice secure wrapping touches, and I am pulling a little tight. Don't pull too tight or you'll spin your tube if it's not secure. And I tied that off once I get up to the weight. And I keep both of these just out of the way for right now. Now the next thing I'm going to do is get some blue bucktail. I'm going to take a fair amount of it, and I'm just going to take it, snip it free, and I do comb out the underfluff because there's a lot of loose hairs in there I don't want in my fly. And then I don't stack this because I want that crazy weird ends to it, if you get my drift. And I do make this kind of long. Like, as you can tell, I'm pretty good long. This is going to be cut off right here, so I want it to kind of hide the hook and be nice and long, because my rabbit zonker is going to take care of it, and I want it to kind of go in with my rabbit zonker. And I'm just going to advance my thread all the way up, securing this down,
And once I get to the end of the weight, sorry, I just keep calling it lead because it just, to me, I have no clue what it is, and weight on a fly to me is lead. So after it's all secured down, and I pull on it to make sure it is good, I go ahead and take my Antron and I wrap it forwards. Now I just added some bulk to that body. And I like that because it evens everything out. And once I get to the front, it doesn't really matter to me because that's where a lot of the feathers are going to be tied in. So let's go ahead and secure off the Antron. I am going to go ahead and snip the Antron free at this time. Now what I'm going to do is do one wrap close to the bucktail, and then I'm going to go ahead and try to make nice segmented bodies. It doesn't matter to me how crazy this looks. It only shows when the water is pushing around the feathers and all of that, but that little bit of black and silver gives it that extra tone, and I kind of like that. And I like this in the back because it gives it, to me, gives it a little flash underneath. So anyways, the next thing you want to do is use a piece of zonker. And I do cut my own zonker, so I'm trying to make sure that I got a good piece. And this is a good piece. So what I do is I lay it down, I kind of measure it out. I do want it to end a little bit past, not a whole lot, but just a little bit past the blue. And then I go ahead and field strip this down. I get this nice and clear so I can tie in exactly where the weight ends. And I just drop the bobbin right over that. I do want it to be on skin. I don't want it to be away from the skin. I do like the way that it does. I want to make sure it doesn't twist and turn on me while I'm doing it. And once it's on there, I pulled this real tight. See, it wasn't secure, so I got to do this again. And this is where you got to pull tight. So if you're not used to the 70 denier and its strength, you're probably going to break this at this point. So there we go. Now it's secure. I'm going to reach in here with once I separate this, I'm going to reach in here with a pair of hair scissors and snip that free. And there we go. I've got that telling back. And if you look at it, when it lays on top of the blue, it's got that nice black and blue look. And if you want, you can trim the blue if you want to make it all pretty. But there you go. And then I go ahead and do a few wraps to clean up the front of the fly, because that's where all my feathers are going to go. So the next thing I use is some Chinese saddle hackle, but I use a part that most people just throw away. I use the actual bottom part of the fly. I know you can't really see it with the fly in the way. I use the bottom part of the fly. I think that is very fluffy. It gives it a good thing. So if y'all do that, just go ahead and keep some of it. I like them. I like some of this stuff. I tie it in by the tip, of course. I'm going to snip it off. And then what I'm going to do is pull this back. And now I don't recommend to overkill it with this. I do like a couple of wraps, not a lot. I do a couple of wraps and then I secure it off. I have my brother-in-law who's getting ready to walk in, and he's kind of loud.
So just give me a second. He's going to interrupt this video. So there you go. He's actually a good guy. I like him a lot. He's a coon hunter. Rather him be a fly fisherman, but he's a coon hunter. Pretty good at it. So the next thing you want to do is you're going to want to take black schlappen. So I'm going to take the black schlappen. I don't really gauge and judge out the black schlappen because I don't think it really matters. I've always called these garbage feathers, but I'm going to take that. I'm going to tie that in. And once that's tied in, now with this, I do wet my fingers to pull this back. And as I'm pulling this back, I just keep trying to make it nice and even. I don't try to do like a lot of overkill on the black, but I do want it to kind of make the black and blue kind of give that black and blue kind of like a mixture pattern. And I think that's good right there. I am going to comb that out a little bit so they kind of blend. So what I do is if I can't get it to blend right, just take a comb, kind of go through it a little bit so it blends in a little bit more. And that's what I do. I do like the blue sitting out more on the bottom, being more pronounced on the bottom, because that keeps the profile of the blue and keeps the profile of the black. Now at this point, this is completely up to you. You can use Blue Guinea or Natural Guinea. I kind of like the Natural Guinea look. Just to me, it's a overall more creative look to it, and I like it because, to be honest with you, it's just something I always have laying around as natural. I don't always have blue. I don't always have random colors. So I'm going to tie this in, and I'm going to just palmer this in. Don't overkill this. You don't really need to. Just get a few wraps in, and once you get your few wraps in, go ahead and secure it. I think that's good enough. And so do a half more. There we go. I think that's good enough. So I'm going to go ahead and tie that off and snip that free. Now I'm going to clean it up a little bit. Just wrap it back. Now, if you're new to tube flies, and you don't know how to put a sonic disc, or you're having trouble, whip finishing can be hard. Because we are going to whip finish. We're almost at the end of the fly. So as you can tell, I'm keeping the triangle really close to the end of the fly, and that way so I can go up and over the spindle. So you're basically done with any kind of other material. So the next step we're going to do is take this, pull this out. I'm going to flip this over and put it back on the arbor. If I can get it on. And now the fly is going to be backwards on what you just tied on. And I'm going to get a blue sonic disc out of the Pro Sports Fisher, and I'm using small, and I dropped it on the floor. These things are hard to get off if they land a certain way. Alright, and what I'm going to do is just slide this over top and slide this back, and as you can tell, kind of pushes everything out of the way. And now what I'm going to do is just bring this to the top, and what I do when I bring it to the top is I take a lighter and I just come down and I just keep lightly tapping the little bit of tube that's there. I don't want to overkill it. And once I get a nice little bubble wrapped up in there, I kind of make sure it's secure. If it's not secure, I bring it back to the top and I hold it sideways and bring it down. Cool it off, check it. It's still trying to cool off. Now it's nice and secure. Sorry for the video glitch at the end. I will be doing more Intruder and Tube 5 videos in the future.